From CES 2019, we're taking a look at the LG Signature Series R. First off, they showed off a lot of new things, the 8K TVs, the nanocell advancements in their technology, but the showcase presentation and their fanciest TV element was the OLED TV R. So this is the minimalistic, aesthetically pleasing design, where your TV will literally roll up from a stand and show off basically your screen in a number of different ways. There's 3 key viewing angles: full view, line view, and zero view, and we're going to go over those in a second. So this is a 65-inch 4K Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos screen. It's pure metal with natural wool, so you get great sound. It saves real estate. It's, again, aesthetically pleasing. It is really a gorgeous screen, and it looks great. There's some music settings specifically, which we'll go over in a sec. And the power cord is standard because I specifically asked about it because I'm making a joke. In the conference presentation, they had a lady that was by her swimming pool and had it out, and I guess that was more conceptual. It's just sort of funny. Anyways, going back to this. This is the Model 65R9. It rolls up and it rises at the touch of a button. It has a flexible OLED made of organic materials. Now to move past that, we're going to talk about the different views. So as I mentioned, full view. This is the regular screen experience with contrast, depth, and realism of LG TVs. It has AI picture and sound, powered by the Alpha 9 Gen 2. There is support for Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, and it has Apple AirPlay 2, which was a big thing that everyone was pushing at the conference, and not a ton of people were too hyped about it, to be honest. But I'm sure people at home are excited. I think it'll be cool. That aside, it also has home app control, where you can do so, control your TV by asking Siri, which is kind of neat. Going on to the next one, we have line view. So this allows a partial unrolled screen for management of specific tasks. Features such as a clock mode for time, something with weather, a frame mode for family photos that are shared from a smartphone. There's a mood mode to create a more relaxing atmosphere. You can have music, a home dashboard. Stuff like that is capable in the second mode, which is again slightly, up. Then we have zero view. So this is where all 65 inches are hidden from view and stuck in the actual base. You don't see it, there's no screen. It's just a metal case sitting somewhere in your room. This has music and audio content that resonates from a 4.2 channel 100-watt front-firing Dolby Atmos audio system. So it is really neat, and as you've been seeing in the background here, it does simply just slowly go up and down, perhaps maybe a little bit too slow. Though if you're getting this kind of TV, that is what you're trying to do. You're trying to show off something that is fancy and really stylish. This is something that I didn't really anticipate, and something that's really cool. I mean, it was not at all what I expected, and it's literally just a futuristic concept in the fact that, TVs in your house have always been there. You've seen them on the walls, you've seen them on stands. When you go into a house, at least in modern times, the TV is sort of a central thing where people gather around, they watch content, they chat around it. And it's always been there. And now the idea here, and I suppose this might be futuristic to some degree, is that your TV isn't exactly there unless you want it to be there, unless you want it to be a showcase. And then it just majestically comes up all slowly. I'm not too sure about specifics. Oh, here's another viewing angle. Because I wasn't given a ton. This was all taken during a private tour that I had of the booth with the LG Canadian side of things. So they gave me all the details they could, and if you notice, the camera works a little bit, iffy and everything. That is because I am, even though I'm good in position, I'm fighting with other people that are all around me, trying to take pictures and video and chatting with other people. So, obviously you're not getting a dedicated videoing, so I'm trying my best here. I wanted to give a sense of the movement of the screen as it rolls up, the thinness. It is a very thin screen, obviously, if it's going to roll up 65 inches into such a small little place, and it does look really gorgeous. It's got a beautiful screen, 4K, which this is fine. The 8Ks are not exactly rolling out entirely yet. We're seeing them over the year of 2019, which is going to be great. Looking forward to hopefully checking some of those out at some point. Well, at the show I saw a bunch of them, but you don't really get a sense for a TV unless you're actually at home using it in regular viewing. I did get a really good idea of this one though, because they are pushing it and they're showing it from multiple angles, and this seems like a very fancy luxurious kind of TV, so I'm not sure what kind of price point they're going to come in at. But this does seem to be something that is practical, and they actually want to deliver it into houses and have people experience a different kind of viewing. And I didn't really see any of the other companies, the TV companies at the event, doing something like this. And I would even ask them about what their thoughts are, and they said we sort of saw it coming, but they're not really too worried because it's part of because TV is already so part of things. And another company has like minimalistic designs that fit into your wall, the Samsung basically art style, and companies have stuff like that going, but I don't think anyone's really doing a sort of a roll-up technology in terms of pushing the screen up, bringing it down, and then still having something nice. Because basically, when you have this, and I really do like the idea of it, you remove the element of the TV from the room, which might be aesthetically pleasing. You could have it in the center, or you could have it to the side, and it could just become like a small box that's out of the way. So if someone has like a guest speaking area, they have guests in there, and it's usually just for chatting, you can remove the TV element entirely. Or you're having a family event and you don't want the TV getting in the way, you just hide it. And at that point, it actually becomes something entirely different. You basically just have a speaker system, right? And you can play music from, or you could have it slightly up, and you can have it as a sort of a clock, or just again like a mood style thing. And I really like that idea of it. You can even share the pictures and everything like that. And I think that's a really interesting aspect. And again, it's controlled by the voice. It's full assistant support for like the Alexa, Google Assistant, and connection with Siri to a degree. And seeing that sort of advancement where this can become a home speaker as well as a TV, you're getting multiple functions out of it, which I think is something completely different than what we're used to from TVs. Because your TV can do it now, but your TV is clearly placed. When you enter a room, one of the first things you notice when you enter a room, if it has a TV, is there's a TV there, and we have TVs, because they're so cheap now. We have them in bedrooms, we have multiple rooms with TVs in the house, so you've got screens everywhere nowadays. And this sort of helps go back a little bit and hide that element from actually being front and center all the time, and you can focus more on people, or you can just watch it. And I think most of the time you're just going to be like, yo, do you see my TV? It'd be like, oh, you have a TV here? And then you'd be like, bloop, and it goes shoo, and everyone will be like, oh my god, what? It's just like an overly fancy thing. And I think if they come in at a good price point at this point, I think this could actually be a very successful new type of TV. It's not something where they have really any competition. And assuming you recall from the start of the video, the panels, the bending panels, that's kind of an idea. They call it the Canyon, and they do something like this, at least they did last year too, where they're just showing off their screen technology, the vibrancy and the bendability and what they can do with it. And you're really seeing that transfer into their actual TV with the roll-up. Now, I'm not sure where they go from here. Maybe in the future we'll see something sort of like a retro projector where it like rolls down. That might be cool too. But I really do like the concept of this one. It's got very nice materials. It's got a very fancy setup to it. It's going to be a very cool sort of screen that you can own in your house. I think a lot of people, that are going to be able to purchase this one will really like what it does and actually fits into their housing. And it does have all, again, the modern features that you're looking for in terms of the Atmos and the Dolby Vision, the colors, the contrast, the lighting. It really is like, again, a premium of the LG lineup, and it does take that top line. Like, you can still get the regular TVs. This is not like a replacement. It could be in the future if it does really well, but you want to get that concept across, that this is something that is unique. It stands by itself. This is a very standalone thing. You might look at it and be like, this could be a gimmick, as to say, but I really do think that this possibly could be a whole new line of TV styles in the future if this is a successful thing and people like it. Personally, I think it's small. I would kind of question the back panel. Now, I know that it has to move in order for the TV to come up and down, but I think it might be neater if the panel did like a back fold, sort of like the Surfaces do, the Microsoft Surface, where it's got the back hinge, because that way you can actually place this against a wall which would be ideal for me personally. So that's one thing, and I don't know how far it goes back. I kind of registered it at about like an inch or so, maybe less. And you should see that maybe in some of the video parts, the back of the TV. It's just a panel that folds kind of in and out in order for your TV to go up and down. I just want to get that across. So that's one thing that I kind of question. Maybe a hinge thing where it actually didn't take up any more additional backspace would have been smarter. I don't know if they could do that mechanically, but that's just kind of a concept I was thinking of. So overall, I think this is a very interesting TV. It's very forward thinking. It has all the technology you would expect of a modern TV, and I'm very interested to see how it actually does perform when we get to see these things out. And I think I covered all the bases as far as information and thoughts on this actual product that are currently available, and hopefully at some point I actually get to try this out in real world situations. But they have a really cool display, and I think this is a really neat product from CES 2019.